where there used to be 30 doctors, there's going to be like, I don't know, 10 doctors, and the other 20 doctors are going to be AI, like something crazy like that. I just, that's what I foresee, because there's not enough there's literally not going to be enough human beings. And then not to mention, there's more old people than there are young people. Hey guys, it's Josh. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm an IT manager. I run a small team. I've been in IT for 10 years. I've held positions of network engineer, system administrator, technician. That's where I started out at. And I wanted to talk about the topic of AI. Will AI take my job? That's what we're going to talk about today. I think, just to get to the point, I think the answer is technically yes. Someday, if you are still doing the same job you're doing today, AI is going to take your job. For some of us, our jobs are extremely repetitive. They are highly susceptible already to automation. And what I've seen is the reason it hasn't moved to automation or AI or any kind of scripting or anything is because of cost. But we're starting to steadily see the cost of automation come down. I mean, for example, I myself did learn coding, but I can now just go to most of the AI chatbots and just ask, like, hey, I messed up this code. Tell me where I went wrong. Now, for those of you listening who might say, well, coding's dead, you shouldn't learn coding, I would have an argument against that. I'll just quickly go into that real quick. No matter what AI bot or whatever AI is doing, right? I don't care what it is. There has to be somebody, human, that has to say, yes, that is the correct way of doing things. There has to be somebody that really knows that subject. So let's say you're building a house, right? And you've automated most of the process, and maybe there's welding involved, right? And for some crazy way, we've automated all welding. Well, if the welding wasn't done right, and there's no one on site to say, oh, that welding was done wrong, and then that building collapses because the welders who welded it were a poor LLM and didn't understand how to weld correctly or something, there was no oversight. Well, that's incorrect. Like, what if you had building inspectors that were AIs? Would you trust that? I wouldn't. Like, if humans are going to have a stake in anything that AI generates, and we're the consumers, in my opinion, there should be some human checking it. So to just say we should just throw up our hands and not be experts in anything, I just completely disagree with that. But if you're just going to be a mediocre, software engineer or mediocre technician, then yeah, be prepared to be working up against some of the hardest working creations that man has ever made, which is AI. I myself, I'm concerned about it, but the way I'm resolving it for myself is that I'm just making sure I just upping my skills. Like, and I'm not saying I'm not getting any sleep and I'm letting my health go. That's not helping anyone. You should still try to maintain your health and take care of your family, things like that. But the days of sitting at work and just staring at this thing all day and, sitting around the cooler for 4 hours and getting half your work, I don't see how that's going to work out. Because when you're at work, you're at work. And I know I know what that sounds like. And I know our grandparents didn't have to put up with that. But regardless of the ethics of, everything being automated, I just feel like this is like the next evolution, right? I mean, when we go to work 30, 40 years from now, I have a good feeling that the majority of our coworkers are going to be AI. And I know how crazy that sounds. And the reason I say that is because the birth rate. And I don't know if I know I hear some news organizations talking about this, but it's a real concern for me. Like we're seeing birth rates plummet across the planet. Um, I mean, South Korea, I think is 0.8. America's 1.6. Japan is very close to South Korea. I mean, you're going to have no choice but to automate things. You're going to have no choice. And when you go to work, you're going to, like, if you're going to go build a house, the example was used before, you're going to have something automated because the people that would have been there are now gone. Like, literally, people didn't have enough kids. I mean, I myself, in my situation, I am one of four. I'm the oldest of four kids. There's only one kid, the entire family. And then my wife's side, same thing. There's only one kid. That's it. There's no one. And there are, I have more friends that don't have children than do, if that tells you anything. Like, it's crazy how many people are choosing not to have children. It's becoming a real problem. And people aren't even dating anymore. So, I mean, it's tough to see humanity starting to feel like it's fading. But if I could encourage you to do anything, try to maintain your humanity by caring for other people, just helping people in general. I mean, that's how the entire economy is supposed to work. You go to work and you help somebody, you get paid for it. But then if you have someone on staff who literally isn't a human being and doesn't need a paycheck, well, there goes humanity. I just, I don't want to be completely doom and gloom here, but the way we maintain our humanity is we still have emotions, we still have feelings, and most importantly, we just have love for each other. And I know that sounds like a hippie attitude, but for someone who was worked in IT for over 10 years, um, I can tell you the one thing that always breaks through with clients, coworkers, staff, it doesn't really matter, is just showing compassion and care. Like it is like a superpower that I try to leverage as much as possible. It's like, oh, how are you doing? How was your weekend? Oh, that sounds interesting. You know, those things AI will not be able to recreate, because if you put me in front of an AI chatbot and ask me how my weekend was, my question is like, why are you asking me that? Do you actually care? Because it doesn't. It's been programmed to. But if you do things that are not programmed and you just do them because they're nice to do, well, I would say that is maintaining your humanity. Um, so I think AI is going to definitely take some jobs that probably do need to be taken on unfortunately. So for example, I used to work as a technician for an ATM company. Um, I'll I'll defer from saying the company's name, but it's a very large ATM company here in the United States. And this is back in like the late 2010s. So like around, I'm sorry, no, it was 2010 or 2011 is when I started working there. And I started working there and we started installing ATMs across the United States for a very, very large bank who bought a ton of banks in my area, like in a crazy amount of banks. So we were installing, I think, up to 5, 7 ATMs a day, because literally the amount of ATMs we installed were the amount of technicians we had on hand. Like it was like all hands on deck type thing. And I walked into many a bank where you physically had tellers, right? And we would physically go in and say, we're taking this teller booth out, like straight up. A human being used to stand there and we're putting an ATM in there, and that ATM is going to do that teller's job. So I've watched automation happen. And what happened was they took all those human beings, and for the most part, I never saw any of them lose their jobs. They just shifted them into different roles. And I think that's what's going to happen with, if I have an optimistic view of what's going to happen with I think what's going to end up happening is there's going to be so few humans that we're going to have to spread the humanity workforce pretty thin across all industries. So where there used to be 30 doctors, there's going to be like, I don't know, 10 doctors, and the other 20 doctors are going to be AI, like something crazy like that. I just, that's what I foresee, because there's not enough there's literally not going to be enough human beings. And then not to mention, there's more old people than there are young people. So how are you going to take care of all these old people when there's not enough young people to do it? You're going to have to do something. You're going to have to. For today, what I'm doing is I'm just trying to create leverage, which is making sure my skills are up to date, my soft skills and hard skills. For some, this might be hard to hear, but I don't play very many video games. I do have a life. I mean, I do have a family, but the one thing I don't do is I don't spend, you really have to manage your time. Like if you're tracking your hours and you realize you're spending 4 hours a day on video games, like that's not going to work. Like it's never has worked. It probably never will work. If you're trying to do all these things, if you're just going to work every day, clocking in 9 to 5, you come home, you get to take care of a dog and feed yourself, that might work. You might be okay. But I do know some that just go home, they dump hours and hours into a video game or football, gambling, whatever it is. I mean, history doesn't repeat itself, but it does rhyme. Even though we're entering the we're entering the AI era, I feel like humanity is still suffering from the same ailments our grandfathers, our great grandfathers, and even before then have dealt with. Infidelity is still a thing. Drug use is still a thing. And um, replace technology addiction with any other addiction. It's just an addiction. Like, you know, people have been gambling for forever. Um, you know, all these things have existed in a different form well throughout history. And I feel like we're lucky because we're living in a time where we can literally look back into the past and see the choices that our parents and grandparents and even our great grandparents made, and we can choose not to do that, right? So we're about to enter a world of AI where it's like pretty crucial we don't make the mistakes of our parents and grandparents. You know, for those grandparents and great grandparents that made mistakes, they might have been okay to get by back then, but I feel like in the world of AI, a much more is going to be asked of humanity. Um, I hope part of me hopes I'm wrong, but everything that I'm seeing, it just seems like it's heading in a direction of the average human is going to have to be like exceptional to maintain a lifestyle of what we used to call normal, if that makes any sense. That might sound dystopian, but I have pretty bad anxiety. So I just feel like I have a real, like, as soon as I realize I'm not putting enough time into things that I should be putting enough time into things, I start getting like antsy. Um, I'm working through that because it's at some point I just have to accept just what's going to happen is going to happen. Like there's nothing, there are some things that are just not going to be in my control. And this world of moving towards AI, that's certainly not in my control. But what is in my control is how I respond to it. Like, I'm not going to sit here and, basically just go like, well, screw it. AI's taking over. I'm just going to give up. Like, it's just not an option. Like, I got to do something. Like, there are things that if AI is going to take it over, it's going to be miles down the road. And anything that requires interacting with other humans, like on a personal level, call any 1-800 number. And if you're still screaming the word representative into the phone, then I think that you're still safe, right? Like, there are jobs that you're going to have to, especially jobs that serve other humans. They're going to request human beings. And that's another positive thing I'd like to add on to this is it might become a time where human labor is way more valued than AI labor, right? Because if AI is just going to be a computer, okay, let's just say they come up with humanoids, whatever. I know I'm kind of painting a picture here, but I mean, even today, there are LLMs that can do only certain things, okay? Like, Claude's really good at coding, and, ChatGPT is just kind of like general AI types. Like, it can do basic things, but it doesn't have like a specific, it doesn't have like a specific expertise set, right? And if that continues where only LLMs can only do certain things, then we might be okay. Because for the most part, human beings can jump from topic to topic. And I know that because I have ADD. So I'll jump from topic to topic any day you want. We can be versed in many different areas where I just have a feeling if AI is going to require it already requires a ton of resources just to get a simple chatbot going. So can you imagine like what it's going to take to just have general intelligence? Like, it's going to take a lot of resources. And for right now, the only thing that I require is some food, air to breathe, and a place to go potty. So I'm not asking for much. AI is going to take a whole lot of power. It's going to take a whole lot of, ingenuity to try to get to a point to recreate me. And to recreate me, that's why I feel like there might be a time where you enter a room, you pay for a service and you're just like, oh, he must be rich because there's human beings helping him. Like, who knows? Maybe our human beings' time just becomes way, way more valuable versus like if we have 15 AI chatbots installing a roof on a house, or 15 AI robots installing a roof on a house. And then there's that one human laborer overseeing the other AI bots. Well, that one roofer must be the expert. Like, he's overseeing that. Like, that one roofer, that one human roofer is probably going to get paid a whole lot more, because it's like, what's the point of having all these AI robots if, we're just going to pay that should be the point, to benefit humanity. It shouldn't be the point to benefit, some corporation. So we're probably diving into a little bit of the politics here. But anyway, this is my rant. I know I've already hit 18 minutes, but I don't know. Tell me what you guys think. I mean, I know I went into a lot of topics there, but the big takeaways is that, AI is going to take some jobs, but it's not going to take all the jobs. And even if it does take the majority of jobs in the next couple of years, just remember the birth rate. Like, no one's talking about it. It's a real problem. And if it keeps going the way it's going, you're going to hope that AI ends up being really good in the end, because you're going to need to automate something. So I don't know, guys, let me know in the comments below. I know this is a little bit controversial, but I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me where I'm right. I know. Just let me know in the comments, man. All right. See you guys next time. Peace.